So here we are in Santa Monica, California at McCabe's guitar shop. Some 40 years since we first met at the New Varsity when you were playing on a show with Michael Hedges. And now here you are, still on tour, still very popular. Weren't you just in America last year?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, extensively for
After COVID,
months.
I did 2 tours for a total length of time of 5 months and a half.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, I did 2 tours, one which was 3 months and the second one 2 months and a half.
And now you've also
it's
done.
only 3 months and a half, but it's only half of the country. And I will come back next year to do the other half.
Right, but this is the correct half, the left half.
This is the correct half?
No, you would never say that
We
because you
never
have
said
fans on the East Coast. But
I started in North Carolina, so in the south, in the southeast. I played extensively in Florida and then made my way west, going through the southern states. Went north a little bit to Colorado, then Salt Lake City, and then back south to Arizona and Nevada, Arizona, and then California. Then I'm making my way all the way north on the west coast, all the way to Seattle, where I will end this tour.
And I think on your way, you stopped and met with our friend Jake White, who's writing the biography of Michael Hedges. You stayed with him for a few nights and played in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, I stayed with him and his family. He was very kind to host me and my road manager, Jared. We spent, I think, 4 days there. It was amazing, and it was so beautiful time to see Utah. You know, I understand why people love Utah, because it was majestic. It was very, very beautiful. A lot of green, still a lot of snow in the mountains, a lot of lakes and rivers. I spoke with my other friend, Donny Osmond. I said, and I understand now why you live here. He said, I'm glad you do, and take advantage. This is one of the best time of the year, April in Utah. You know, I thought Utah was more drier and more desert and stuff, but not at all. I mean, wow,
And beautiful mountains surrounding Salt Lake City.
It's absolutely spectacular.
Yeah.
I was used to Salt Lake City and this big flat land of Salt Lake. I knew there were mountains, of course I saw the mountains, but when I drove my way from Colorado, from Longmont, Colorado, I arrived in Utah through, what was the name, near Ogden, Sport, I don't remember, but anyway, just before arriving to Salt Lake City, Jake lives in Alpine. Oh my God, the view from his house is like, oh. It was so special.
It's a nice house.
For me, it was good to spend a few days there and to talk with him about, of course, about what the book is writing about Michael. The reason why we've met is that, in fact, he interviewed me as he was writing this biography for Michael. So that's how we've met.
He really is a good, warm-hearted, super smart guy. The book is, I've read much of it, and it's going to absolutely be fantastic.
Yeah, and he's a great cook. He cooked for us every day, breakfast. He was like a nanny for us. Was like, what can I do for you? What can I cook? Eggs, and every time eggs, avocado, mushrooms. Very nice, very nice.
That's great.
His way to listen to the music is very, very intoxicating. He's so enthusiastic and always open and smiling, and it's inspiring to play when he's there and listening.
I think it's wonderful that the guy who's writing the book about Michael Hedges can play many of the Hedges tunes, so he really understands that stuff. I was just cooking for him 3 weeks ago, the weekend before you were there. He and Janessa were out at our place in Sun Valley.
Well, this is the extended Michael Hedges family.
Yeah.
All the people through Michael's music and life, all the people who have been, in fact, meeting and keep on, in fact.
Yes, keeping his memory alive.
And in fact, develop a beautiful interaction of their own. Thanks to Michael at first.
Yeah. Another friend you saw who's a very wonderful guy that you've known, perhaps no, you've known me longer, but you've known Joe Roth for a long time. I think in
Oh
Chicago
yes.
was the first
Yeah,
time
yeah,
you and
yeah,
Joe.
yeah,
And then
Joe,
he
yeah.
came to see you in Sedona.
Yeah, Joey was in Sedona with Joy, his wife. And it's funny to see him in Sedona because I used to see him in Chicago for so many years, you know. I used to stay in his condo with an amazing view on Lake Michigan. I mean, in every season of the year, even in hardcore winter when it was like, I remember we went to see Batman on a movie theater very close to him. And as we were trying to walk back to his condo, it was so cold. We took a taxi for less than a mile. We could not even walk. It was so
Wow.
cold.
Wow. The Windy
Because of
City.
that, we reminded it to each other when we saw last time. Yeah. I don't know. You know, over the years, I've been playing this country since 1979. I've developed a very loyal fan base, but also family of friends.
You have some obscure friends. I
I
mean,
have dear
Donny
friends.
Osmond, I've heard about that before, but that,
Donnie is a new friend who we met 2 years ago, and he's a lovely human being.
yeah.
But over the years, when I come, I realize that when I come and play here, one of the big joy of playing here is to see my friends.
Yeah, like
To see,
Benjamin, whom I got to meet
yeah,
today.
I mean, like Benjamin, I'm staying with him in Highland Park. But sometimes I see them as a show. Sometimes it's only a video chat, because I'm not touring wherever they are. But sometimes I'm staying with them, and it's like a good reunion again. You know, we catch up about our life, about our families, and so it's one of the reward of doing what I do.
Another friend that I know because I used to live in Mendocino, and he is such an important figure to the music scene in Mendocino, along with David Hayes, Van Morrison's longtime bass player, is Gene Parsons.
Oh my
How did
God!
you meet Gene? How did that whole
So
thing happen? You were young.
when I grew up, I was a bluegrass musician as well. I played the mandolin, and my first paying job was to accompany Bill Keith, the banjo player, on his European tours. So, so I was into that sort of world as well. So not only I was listening to a lot of different folk music from Brighton, from Ireland, from France, from America, blues players and Doc Watson, but I listened to a lot of bluegrass, and I was a big fan of the Flying Burrito Brothers. You know, they were around, and then my good friend Jean, I was playing bluegrass with him. Jean played the guitar in the suburbs. We used to live in the same suburbs, the west suburbs of Paris. Jean had a record of Gene Parsons called Monument, and we went in vacation together with other friends and played in the street in the summer on the coast of France, and we listened to that record all the time in the car. So, and I love that record so much, and it evoked me so much of this good time in the summertime. I know this record by heart. I got myself the album and started to listen to it. And then we have a tour with Bill Keith, so I go on the road with Bill Keith, and we are in somewhere in Belgium, and we have like 2 days or 3 days off on the tour. So the guitar player returns to Paris, and Bill and I, we go to his friend who has an hotel in Amsterdam, in Holland. So, and he says, and my good friends, the Flying Burrito, are playing in this hotel, so we are going to get together and we're going to jam with them. I had no idea that Gene was going to be there. So we arrive in the hotel, and I see Gene Parsons, and I'm thinking, is it you this record, Monument, it's you? He said, yeah, you know this record? He said, I love this record. I'm 17, you can imagine the impact it has on me to meet one of my mentors because Gene is definitely one of my mentors, and through him Clarence White and Roland White and the Kentucky Colonels and all this league of musicians who have been so important for my development as a musician. And I meet him, he's like so personable, so simple, so nice, so friendly. I had not made my first record by then. But he says, "Oh, you are coming to America. If you come to America, you have to come and visit me." He gives me his address, with no email, his phone number. And then the two ends, I go back home and I do my first record. And when the record comes out, I told him about his first record. I invited Bill Keys to play with me on that record. And I said, "Gene, as soon as I do my record, I'll send you a copy." And very politely, very elegantly said, "Oh, that would be so fantastic, But he has a lot of people who want him to listen to them, so he was very elegant, I sent him the record with a little note, and maybe 3 weeks later, I got this letter from him saying, "I've never been so touched since Clarence White to hear such music. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have to come and visit me. I repeat, you have a home in my house whenever you visit the north of California." That's how we met. So I went on the road on my first American tour back in 1979 and spent 10 days in Mendocino. I spent a bit of time with him, and then I met another friend who had a house on the cliff in Little River, just south of Mendocino on the Highway 1.
That the Dawsons, Danny?
Gary Peterson, and I spent, in fact, my time at Gary, and it was completely coincidental that Gary and Nicole, his wife, and their son were living there. So I spent my time with him, but I saw Gene all the time. I went to visit with Jim all the time, so we became very dear friends.
What a great story. Yeah. I have another question. When Michael was first writing and was first studying guitar players, Alex was one of them, and he wrote a tune called a Song for Alex, which eventually the name changed, but he wrote a tune for you, and I wonder if you recall what you thought of the song when you first heard it.
So before to hear the tunes, I heard about Michael quite a bit. I was touring myself, and people were constantly telling me, "Have you heard Michael Hedges?" I said, "No, a lot of people mention his name. I'm not familiar, I'm sorry." And he says, he's doing concerts, and he speaks about you in his concerts and stuff. So I was intrigued. Who is this guy who speaks about me in his concerts, and he seems to be very popular, he seems to really be very much appreciated, but I don't know what he's doing. It was not easy then to listen to music of other people. You had to find a record, But what was surprising is that my agent said, "Oh, I found you a double bill gig in San Diego with Michael Hedges." Wow, okay, great. This is when we met. And so this is when Michael introduced himself to the fact that he heard my work a lot. In fact, he says, and I had not heard this song. I had not heard Bensusan when he mentioned it. When he mentioned it to me, he said, I've written a piece.
He hadn't recorded it yet?
No, but I heard it in concert.
That night?
That night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so he had, he tells me, I want to thank you, and I'm so happy to meet you. I want to thank you finally because you are a huge inspiration. I came across your recordings, and I was so shocked that for 6 weeks, every day, I would listen to your albums, then go to my house, and then take a bath. And 6 weeks later, I wrote this piece for you. That's how he introduced the piece to me. And in that evening, we played together, and I heard his show, and he played Bensusan. I was very impressed. I thought it was, wow, yeah. There is me there. But what touched me is that he captured something very deep and personal to me, which is like more something that intuitively people can feel, but not something that you see logically. There is no logic to it. There is no rationality to it. You just capture something of my inner person, which I thought was very touching for me. Yeah.
So it wasn't completely derivative. It was Michael channeling Pierre.
Yeah, exactly. He was not trying to imitate me at all. Not at all. There were signs where he captures my approach of the guitar, of course, obviously. But in fact, it was Michael painting Pierre.
And forgive the naivete, but is it in Dadgap?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
And
I'm
you
not
know
sure
what?
either.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
One of the
What
reasons
people
why I
play.
ask you is because Will Ackerman thought that Song for Alex was so close to Alex that he didn't want it to go on the first album. But, I think Alex probably today would have said, "Are you kidding? It's Michael Hedges attributing me." And
Well, first of all, I think this is very personal, and if an artist decides to put a song on an album, who is going to say no, don't?
Yeah.
It's personal.
I agree.
You are responsible for whatever you want to propose to the people, what you want people to hear. There is no mistakes to make. There is just a time and period. This is something which fits with your evolution, and But every time I heard that song, and what's funny is that I heard that song played by so many other people.
Are you talking about the song for you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the song that carries my name.
Yeah.
And Michael passed away, what, 15, 20 years ago?
25.
25.
Yeah, 1997. Yeah.
Anyway, since that time, I see, even before that time, but since that time, I see people coming to my shows because of that song, who had no idea what Bensusan was. What's his name? Oh, it's a family name. Oh, it's a musician. Oh, it's this guy playing guitar. Oh, this is this guy Michael used to listen to. And people come to my shows and are very touched. And so he has been, in fact, helping me monumentally.
From beyond the grave. Yeah.
Not beyond the grave, from up in the stars.
Yes.
Because there is no one up beyond the grave.
So here we are at McCabe's Guitar Shop, an iconic place in Southern California. So many friends have said, "Oh my, you're going to McCabe's. It's my favorite guitar shop." And you were saying that you first played here in 1979, and
On my first American tour.
And tell me, because this is going to go up for a lot of your fans on my YouTube channel, as to where they might be able to see you in the upcoming weeks. I know they can go to your website, right, and see the whole thing.
The best thing is to go on my website because there are a lot of details.
But in the Bay Area, I think they can see you maybe at...
Okay, so this coming Thursday, I'm going to be in Santa Barbara in a club called Soul Music Club, which is also a restaurant with good food. And then the week after, I'm starting to play in the Bay Area. I'm going to play in Santa Cruz, I'm going to play in Redwood City, I'm going to play in Berkeley, I'm going to teach in Novato. I'm doing a guitar workshop in Novato. I'm going to be in Mountain View for the Classical Guitar Society. So Mountain View is a South Bay near San Jose, I don't know how you say it. Where else? I'm going to go then. I'm making my way north. So I'm going to be in Willits. I'm going to be in Arcata, in Humboldt County. I'm going to teach an evening workshop and do a house concert in Arcata. Then I'm on my way to Willits, to Sacramento, to Mount Shasta, to Bend in Oregon, to Eugene, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, and then Seattle. I'm going to teach at Dusty Strings on June 1st, and I'm going to play my final concert at the Royal Room on June 2nd.
Final for this year.
Final for this year. Then I'm flying back home on the 3rd, be in Paris on the 4th, and then I'm starting to play in France on the 7th, 8th, 9th, and then the next weekend I'm playing in Paris and near my home, and after that I stop for a long time.
That's good.
Until September.
And I think I heard that
I forgot something.
Yes.
And I'm going to teach my residential guitar seminar at home in August, from the 12th to the 18th of August, and there are still 3 spots left.
3 spots left.
This is a 1-week guitar retreat that I do every year since 1997.
And remind what town?
Near Paris, 1 hour east of Paris.
Okay.
In
And
my house.
I think there's there's word that you're going to be interviewed by Brendan and Misha Hedges for the
Yeah.
movie.
When I'm going to be in Berkeley, we are going to get together, and they want to talk to me about some things regarding Michael and interaction with Michael.
Good. Well, I'm super excited to shoot you once again. First time was 40 years ago, and then in Casper, and then in Willits, and here we go. So thanks so much for talking with me, and merci.
Anytime. Thank you, Randy. Thank you. Bye-bye.